playroom that I had mentioned, it was like a small sort of room which had like different toys and games. There was like a PlayStation as well. It was actually started by Dr. Maman Chandi's wife. Dr. Maman Chandi was like the doctor at like CMC Vellore. And I think that was a great thing to add in the hospital because that really brings some light to the life of the kids there at least twice a day because that's how the schedule was done for the opening of the playroom. They celebrated like birthday parties for like the different kids. Like they had like the cook make like a special cake for them, keeping all the dietary restrictions in mind and all of that. That was pretty good.
Welcome to Paxa Stories. At Paxa, we aim to make cancer care coordination simple, efficient, and empathetic. Understanding personal journeys of survivors inspires those in need and also provides insights for medical professionals to improve their treatment. So, today we'll be talking about non Hodgkin lymphoma, which is a type of cancer in white blood cells. We have Debojit Ghosh with us today. He's a student in Delhi and he successfully recovered from it. And we're here today to learn more about his story. Welcome, Debojit.
Hi. Thanks for having me here, Ashwin.
Thank you so much for coming. How are you doing now?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Essentially, a normal life at this point of time. Doing everything that my friends are doing, going out, all of that stuff, studying. Yeah, so it's been good. Yeah.
So, I like you're completely back to regular life now.
Yeah. Essentially, yes.
That's amazing. That's great to hear. I'm sure a lot of our viewers also would feel hopeful after that. So let's go back a little into the past. Like, can you let us know what was that moment of truth where you were diagnosed, or the kind of signs that you noticed when there were symptoms, or like you had doubts about it, and what was the reaction of people around when they figured? Let's talk about that.
Right. So, like, this was in 2017, like around month of June, late May, maybe early June. So we had our like midterm examinations. I was in class 9. I was like 14 years old. Like during those examinations, like while sleeping, like essentially lying flat, I was having a lot of breathing problems and like I was coughing a lot essentially. I couldn't sleep. In my medical history, I have never had like any sort of like a breathing problem issue ever. So that was what struck like something serious could be happening. Like it was essentially necessary to get it diagnosed as soon as possible, and that's what we did really. So I stayed in Siliguri, like in North Bengal. My school was in Jalpaiguri, so we went to Siliguri to get it diagnosed, got plain X-rayed and CT scanned, and turns out that there was some sort of a dark patch mass like right here in the chest. The doctors there in Siliguri obviously they didn't have the required sort of equipment and treatment procedure to go on further with the diagnosis. So they recommended us to just go to a tier one city, maybe Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, whatever, to get it further diagnosed. Essentially, some sort of a biopsy kind of diagnosis because it could very well be a benign kind of mass where
Hmm.
you don't really have to worry about it. It would just like subside after a few days. But just in case if it's like something cancerous, which it did turn out to be, it'll be much better if we just get it treated somewhere in a bigger city. So we went to Delhi after that. Initially, I think we went to like we googled a few doctors like online, like who were specialists in the thoracic sort of region, and turns out there was this one doctor. I think his name was Arvind Kumar. He was like an HOD at Ames. He was a doctor at Gangaram, and then we went at Gangaram. We showed him the CT scan results. He told us to get it. It was necessary to essentially get a biopsy, but he did as in like a preliminary sort of verdict. He told that it looks like it could be lymphoma, and there has to be some medicines given. So we went to, I think later we went on to Rajiv Gandhi Cancer hospital and got it. Like there was a biopsy done there, and yeah, turns out it was lymphoma. I think I was pretty immature not to understand what medicines meant at that point because I could visibly see my parents being very panicky essentially. They were worried, dead worried really at that point of time. I didn't really understand what was happening. Later, obviously, I got to know how serious it was, because you don't really discuss the disease at the dinner table when you are healthy, really. You don't
Mm.
really discuss, what are the symptoms that could happen, and something like that, just like hitting you suddenly. It just feels like your world just falls apart. And I think we were suggested that the treatment had to be done while staying like at that place for like at least 6 months. It could be more than that, because obviously, because during the treatment procedure, there could be a lot of complications that could arise due to the medicines, and that happens essentially with every patient. So I think that's when we decided that rather than getting the treatment done in Delhi, we should move on to Kolkata. I think that's how we found out about things. Yeah.
Okay, so when this happened, were you like completely informed by your parents in terms of what is happening to you, or like did the doctors talk to you and kind of give you a lowdown on what's happening to you? Were you like completely aware, or since you were still a child, did they kind of take the decision to not like make you completely aware about everything? Maybe like in the hopes of not really scaring you or anything as such. When you finally realized what's happening, how what were your initial feelings?
Yes, I think there was definitely like they definitely cushioned the blow. Really, they did say that lymphoma. I didn't really bother to Google, honestly. I think that's what really helped me. So yeah, but they did say that. I think they gave a like a rough percentage of what are the like the successful like curable cases that they see, and they said that it was like in the high 90s, and it's like very rare that a person like it just becomes serious, and it's not really cured. So I think that's what really gave me hope. So I think I was pretty chill after that, and as I had mentioned earlier, like for me, I thought medicines just meant tablets, really. So, but then I also couldn't figure out why I needed to stay at one place for 6 months if I needed tablets. So yeah, that was really the case. I think at that point of time, what my parents and like my so I was staying at my dad's friend's place when I was here in Delhi during that time. So what they did was they were like always like encouraging me all the time. Ki, like nothing would happen. Like it's all right. The doctor just said ki, like, oh, some 98% people are cured. Yeah, it's fine. Like it's just like 6 months. Don't worry. Your studies will be back on track. It's all right. All of that stuff. And then like I used to get like a lot of phone calls from my other relatives and friends, back at my place. I didn't really feel that difficult initially. I think when I did start my treatment at Tata Medical Center,
In
that's
Kolkata?
when I got to know what it essentially is, and I think that's when I realized, oh, like the severity of it. And yeah, I think it took me some time to process it. Like, okay, this is happening to me. I don't know. I mean, the issue is that since everyone was so like encouraging around me, that I never
Hmm.
really like initially at least. Later down the period, I did have some of those episodes where I did feel a lot bad. But yeah, initially at least, like I really felt that I could make it like easily. Like it's just like a just like later down the years, like these 6 months wouldn't really feel like anything. It would just feel like, oh, it was like a bad nightmare or something like that. And yeah, the studies would be back on track. I would be doing well in my life and all of that stuff. Like I would be like I'm a big like sort of a sports fan kind of guy. Like I like to play cricket, vagera, football, and all of that stuff. So like I would be back on the field, like playing with my friends and everything. That's what a 14-year-old really thinks. He
Mm.
doesn't have to worry about a lot of other stuff really. So that's what my sort of thought process line of thought was at that point of time. I think throughout the treatment, rather, like there was a lot of encouragement that I was getting from people who I didn't even know, like who are like my cousins, friends. Like their parents came to visit me here. Yeah, it was like, and I would see like other children as well in the hospital. The doctors and everyone, they would be very encouraging, and so it didn't really, the blow was really cushioned. Yeah, coming back to the same point I said in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so you already kind of also spoke about how did you zero down on this? Like you went to your local doctor first, and they referred you to someone in like bigger cities. And did you take any like second, third opinions as such? Because you said you went to Delhi and then directly you went to Kolkata. Like, were there any second, third opinions at all?
Yeah, I think the reason for getting the treatment done in Kolkata was simply because of the fact that people could like at least visit. We also had a place at Kolkata, so it was easier to sort of travel
Yeah,
from my,
logistics
yeah, logistical.
wise.
Yeah, we did take multiple, I think, second opinions because
Hmm.
I think later down, like maybe 3 4 months in like into the treatment, I think my dad did visit like Mumbai, the main Tata Medical Hospital. He did show like the prescriptions, and they said that the treatment procedure was the same as what they would have done there as well. And I think
Okay.
that's what I think other doctors at Kolkata had also said, and like a few of my father's friends were also doctors at like different hospitals, so we approached them as well, and yeah, we received the same thing, like the treatment procedure. It was like a similar protocol, similar sets of medicines that were needed to be administered at that point.
So when you talk about treatment of this particular cancer, what exactly was the procedure? Like you mentioned medicines, but
Right, right, right.
apart from that, what else were the treatment plans that you had to take?
So the treatment procedure, so what they call it was a protocol,
Hmm.
which was like a date sheet kind of thing. So it was like a month long sort of timetable of what chemos needed to be administered. So there were different chemos, like some asparaginase, like vincristine, all of these different multiple chemos. Like I can't remember all of them. Some of them have to be administered like twice in a week. So if you had to come to the daycare, like maybe Monday, Friday, so one set of medicine, and then the other set of medicine, it was like maybe once every 2 weeks. So then once every 14 days, something like that. Some medicine, some more other medicines would be like maybe once in a month. And what they would do is like they would have like an X-ray or a CT scan before a protocol would start.
Every time.
And yeah, and then once the protocol would end, then they would do another set of diagnostic. They would run another set of diagnostic tests to see how much what's the change that they could see really. And there were multiple such protocols. There were like the one set of protocol, there was like another set of protocol, the protocol 2, there was like a protocol 3, and then there was like some like a different, later down in like November 2017, there was like a different set of medicines, high power chemos that were administered to me at that point of time. Radiation wasn't advised to me initially. It was much later in the treatment that we had like a second opinion from a doctor, the Tata Medical Center himself, itself, like Dr. Maman Chandi. So he was there. He was like the director of the Tata Medical Center. I think we approached him, and that's when he recommended having the radiation. The conventional treatment procedure had essentially ended by then. Like they had tried multiple options, and like it seemed like there was nothing that was like working. And at that point of time, pediatric department said that there was nothing that we could have done, we could do essentially. And that's when we went to him for a second. I think at that point of time, maybe they should have thought of the radiation therapy by themselves rather than just maybe saying that we couldn't do anything. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know too much about the specifics. Maybe there was proper reason for thinking that. I wasn't informed of the fact at that point of time that they had sort of given up on you. Obviously, I think they could have done that better. Like maybe tried radiation therapy before making that sort of a like almost like throwing a wrecking ball at my parents at that point of time. I think that's something that could have done they could have done better. Yeah.
So you feel if they had taken action faster and kind of reached out to the doctor or anybody else sooner than like delaying the process, the moment that maybe they had some kind of a doubt, or even when they were still trying to figure it out, if the process was faster and they didn't hesitate to take more opinions, maybe they themselves would have realized that okay, there is another pathway, instead of almost becoming a little disheartened about
Right,
what do
right.
we
So
do
the
next.
the thing, the radiation therapy was advised because the cancer was the cancer cells were like locally situated. It hadn't like metastasized.
Hmm.
There's a term.
Started to spread around
Yeah,
and
started to
like yeah.
spread. Yeah, essentially started to spread. Yeah, I couldn't get it at the point of time. That's why the radiation therapy was essentially recommended to me. And I think considering I could see that the other kids were getting radiation therapy, I was one of the few kids who wasn't exposed to that therapy really, that sort of treatment procedure. So I am pretty sure they had a good reason for it. Again, coming back to the same point, like they maybe shouldn't have given up on me like that early rather than trying that treatment.
So maybe yeah, if there was more clarity given to your parents, essentially that we are.
There was enough clarity, but like the issue was that obviously like it was the disease was such that I mean there's not a like a set cure for it, right? So it's almost like kind of shooting a dart in the dark like that point of time. So I feel like my parents, the treatment procedure was done very fast. Like all of it was done very quickly. It was diagnosed very early in the stage. There were multiple like treatment procedures. It was like almost continuous. There was enough rest that was given. Like that's the only criticism that I could really find. Again, like a lot of the medical complications that could have like arisen at that point of time, I do not know. So maybe they did think that was maybe the right decision to go with it. Yes, in terms of clarity, I feel like there was enough clarity given. But then again, I was like a 14-year-old kid. I just like listened to what they said.
It's all right. Maybe the doctors and other medical professionals listening to us right now, probably they kind of understood what you went through. Maybe they have a solution.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they would obviously know
Hopefully,
better. I mean, they see the cases every day.
yeah, I mean, maybe yeah, then maybe they didn't figure out a way so that in future patients kind of feel that okay, things are happening at a pace that they should. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about then while going through the whole treatment process, diagnosis, everything. Did you do certain things like what were your coping mechanisms? Like, did you kind of have any daily hacks like exercising or like sort
Yeah,
of your
definitely. I think
yeah.
exercise was the main rehab that was prescribed to me. Because like when the treatment started, I had a like I was there in like initially I was like put straight into the ICU for like 10 days, I think. And then due to that, there was like a lot of muscle wasting because I was not moving in the bed. I was just like lying down, and due to which the muscles automatically get weakened. And because of the high doses of chemo and everything, like I would just lay down on my bed for a long time, and my legs weren't getting used. So like that's what they recommended, daily exercises. So I would do that twice a day, maybe for at least half an hour, 15 minutes at least every day. I think that was the main rehab. Just like some breathing exercises as well along with it. There was like I forgot what it was called. I think it was called a spirometer. It was like this thing where you had to like blow in, like, and there was like different balls to sort of gauge your sort of respiratory strength. That's what was like recommended. I think that's what I did like almost every day throughout the day, quite a few times. But like, yeah, coping mechanisms, I think, yeah, just talking to friends was the main coping mechanism that I had, like an escape from what was happening around me. Considering I'd mentioned that I was a big sports fan, I used to watch a lot of sports games and all of that, like what was being televised at that point of time, highlights, live matches, different YouTube videos, like a lot of social media consumption, really, that point of time to just escape from the sort of grim atmosphere around me. Yeah.
Any particular channel or movie or anything that you remember watching
Okay,
and
okay.
feeling good
You
about?
okay, okay. Interesting question. I think at that point of time, I had just started maybe watching like foreign creators. I used to watch a lot of PewDiePie. So PewDiePie, at that point of time, he used to play like a video games. I had like a commentary channel, and then I think I watched like the BB Vines and like Carrie Minati at that point of time. I think they were pretty funny for my age during that time. I think that was a good coping mechanism.
Since I mean you were watching things, consuming stuff on social media, and somewhere that kind of distracted you and kept you going. And of course, along with all the exercises and workouts that you were doing. Of course, you must have done this for a certain amount of time,
Right, right, right.
and after that. Were there some kind of small victories or things that you had kind of struggled to do, but finally once you started gaining it back, you felt like maybe like if you could it could be
Oh yeah, yeah,
working
definitely,
better.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think my first small, or you could call it large, I don't know, was when I could stand on my own. I think that was like that was a like I remember the day very clearly. I think I was like overjoyed when I could like stand, and then slowly as the days progressed by, the next victory was like whether I could just like walk, like just not like walking as I walk now, but like just somehow walk, like using a walker and like support and everything. And I think I would also like try to like lie flat, like as the
Hmm.
treatment would progress, to see like if I could sleep properly. So when the treatment began, I had to take like three pillows like stacked up against each other to prop me up and then like sleep. And the one of the small victories was like the number of pillows is like decreasing. So from three to two to maybe two to maybe something you put under a pillow, so like maybe one and a half, and then like one, something like that. I think that was like I would keep like a track, and my mom would keep a track with me as well, and like.
That's very interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. When we talk about coping as well, one of the things that takes a big hit, of course, like you mentioned, walking around, standing, sleeping, but a big thing that people also it gets affected is food, right? Because
Right, food, yeah.
yeah, you can't sometimes eat certain things that you generally do eat. There's a lot of restrictions. So how was that journey? Like, did you have any restrictions? And
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. I think everyone has a restriction, if I'm not wrong, while going through the process. Like any sort of non-home cooked food, like restaurant
hmm,
food was strictly prohibited. Chips, kurkure, lays, all of that stuff, snacks, like the junk food, really, essentially. There were also multiple like restrictions with like fruits, especially
really,
fruits with. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like what they said was that, for example, apple has a very like a thin peel. So generally, when we eat apple, we just eat it with the peel itself, like the skin itself. So what they recommended was like to wash it properly with like a warm water beforehand, and then just like peel it out, cut the apple into pieces, so that there are like multiple pesticides and like that they
hmm,
use to like grow the apples, and I think that could have affected me. And it is very imperative to like keep your diet in control. I mean, I love to eat, I still do. It was initially very difficult for me to, sort of process. Oh, again, like I remember, red meat was also not allowed. Something that I
um,
have continued till now. I don't eat red meat till now. I mean, I do sometimes, maybe like once in a month, all of that stuff. Again, I think sugar was also, I think, was recommended, not to have sugar really. There were also multiple restrictions. I think tomatoes, if I'm not wrong, were not allowed. There were like multiple like vegetables. I can't remember at this point of time.
sure.
But like as I got better, the restrictions started to decrease. Like now I can eat any fruit as I want, just like buy it from the market, wash it, and then eat it like a normal person. Like it doesn't really matter. Restaurant food I do still avoid to the best of my ability as much as I can. But like it's obviously much more lenient now. Sauces were, I think, were not allowed, like ketchup and all of that, soy sauce and all of that stuff. But I think, yeah, during that time, my mom cooked quite a few like Like she would cook everything that I liked at that point of time, like any sort of food that I would really crave. She would like make it at home. Like if I would, crave biryani, then she would be very very kind enough to like look at the recipe and then make biryani on her own. People like who were there with me, they would bring their home cooked meals for me as well. It wasn't too much of an issue, but I would definitely recommend that whatever diet the doctor has recommended, improve the effectiveness of the medicines that are being administered.
Yeah, definitely one, like you mentioned that since you had so many restrictions, even that would have been a great moment when you could finally, start eating everything again. And slowly when I've also heard that sometimes cancer also has the kind of effect where you kind of lose your taste and you don't really understand what
Oh
you're
yeah,
eating. I'm
yeah,
not
ha
sure
ha
if
ha
that's
ha, definitely.
same for
Right,
everyone,
right.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
usually it takes some time for your taste buds to kind of feel the same about food. Sometimes you don't feel like eating at all, like you have a loss of
Right,
appetite.
right, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's very common. Like I could go on and on about side effects of the medicine. Honestly, if I had to count the number of days I had to like nights I had to spend in the hospital, it was more because of the side effects that resulted because of the medicines rather than the actual disease itself. And
Mhm.
yeah, there are multiple there's like mouth ulcers that could lead there could be like body aches, as you said, like the taste just like the taste buds don't really work the same. All of that stuff happens. There's like your body becomes very susceptible to any sort of viral infections, like fever and cold and cough becomes very common. And I think at that point of time it's like very crucial to sort of keep yourself as safe as possible, not just like go around, go to the market,
Hmm.
because obviously that's much more risky, like a place where you could like contract any sort of bacterial or viral infection. Staying in a clean surroundings at your place, all of that stuff becomes very important. I think that just goes hand in hand with the treatment. And I think that was like actually all of these stuff where like the doctors say to you and your parents right at the beginning of the treatment that you have to follow a certain set of guidelines for the treatment to be effective, and you have to be in this clean environment, all of this stuff, work your way onward.
I'm sure, like, once all of this happened and slowly, like, you could start going back to your normal life, start eating the things that you have been told to avoid, like, enjoy food again, maybe even like play sports and all. Like, slowly, once you start to regain back, like, all of your old life, it must have felt great. But let's talk about one important point that comes along with something as big as cancer. Did you get any kind of insurance? Was there any talk about it? I know you were quite young during that time, but
Right, right, right.
if you have
No,
any
I have a
idea
I have
of
a
what happened.
fair idea about finances, because once the treatment was done, my parents could talk about it to me. So I did not have any insurance at that point of time. It was pretty. It left a pretty big hole in my dad's pocket, to say the least.
Oh, okay.
After a certain point of time, my dad couldn't have afforded it, and I think that's when we applied for different like funds. I think there's like a prime minister fund as well. So we had to, I think, contact the local member of parliament to get his signature and everything to sort of approve that fund or something. I can't go into the, I don't know the all the
Sure.
intricacies of the process, but we did apply for that. We did receive the funds. There was like a chief minister's fund as well. There were multiple donations with relatives just like giving money for treatment. My school, I can go on about my school's role during my treatment. But yeah, I think they contributed a big sum as well. There was a big sum contributed to the treatment by the chess federation where I used to play chess. So I used to play
Oh,
chess before the treatment. I still like following chess a lot. The people I used to play with chess, my coaches and like all of the the people there, they contributed a good sum of money, and I think we could finally finance everything at the very end. Yeah, but like yeah, we didn't really have any medical insurance. We do now after the the treatment was done. I think we as a family from like tier 3 city, really tier 3 town Jalpaiguri, we didn't really think something like that would really fall upon us. So we never really thought that it would be necessary to get a like a medical insurance. Paying like a quite a good premium every month
Hmm.
for something that could happen. But yeah, I mean, in retrospect, we maybe should have taken. But then again, you never know. Essentially, we didn't have insurance.
Even for people who are in some way affluent and have the kind of funds, you never know how quickly that just bleeds away. So you can
Oh
never
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
sure.
definitely, yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, I don't want to make any comparisons, but I do not know whether the like if there's any disease which can leave like as much of a hole as big as like cancer does. Like it drains like the drain out very quick. Like and now that I think about it, now that I've matured, like I know how money works. Like those the medicines, and I was getting treated in a private hospital, a Tata Medical
Hmm.
Center in Kolkata was like the private division. It's very expensive to say the least. I mean, I do not know how to put it, like,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
can
we need
understand.
insurance definitely.
We are usually always told to like be careful about these things and like consider having like a safe deposit and kind of like you never know what could happen. But I think it's just human tendency to feel that something like this could never really happen to
Yeah, yeah,
us.
yeah. Because yeah, definitely because this is such a disease that you like on a daily, day-to-day life, you never think that something could happen to you like this, and unless you see it from the front, you would never know how the treatment goes on. So, you know how long the treatment procedure is. 6 months time, that is the minimum number amount of time. Like my treatment procedure, because of the complications and everything, that took 10 months. So obviously the expenses was much higher. And thankfully we had a place at Kolkata, or else we had to I mean, if we had to like do the treatment, get it treated in like Mumbai or Delhi, we had to pay a hefty rent as well on top of it. Yeah, so those sort of expenses like really pile up, and even if you have a safe deposit like of I don't know how many lakhs worth, it just vanishes like in a few months. So, I kid you not.
Well, not just cancer, but any other kind of disease,
Any
which,
other kind of disease, yeah,
yeah.
definitely, yeah, any other kind of disease, yeah, really.
Yeah, but that's great that you got a lot of grants and there was like a lot of support from different people and amazing that you could finally get through all of this. That's the kind of support that we all kind of think of, kind of hope for that in some way, both financially and morally, we rely on this kind of support, and that's what kind of gives us strength. So that's quite relieving to hear that there are a lot of facilities as well for was this like for you because you were a minor at that time, or is this available even for adults like the
I
grant?
think this is available even for adults. I think yeah, as far as I remember, I think this was available for everyone.
Oh, that's great. Like, do you remember at all what was the procedure? Like, you had to approach them personally, or was
Yeah,
it like
I had
site
to.
where people
So,
can go
like,
on?
from what I overheard during that time was they had obviously you need like the prescriptions and everything to show that this is the thing, and then there's like some sort of an online application if I'm not wrong. But then again, we had to approach the MPs, the different politicians, to sort of push it as fast as possible. To with how the Indian bureaucracy works, it's better to do it. Sort of get it as quickly as possible because it was an emergency at that point in time. You needed the funds as quickly as possible. And there was another grant, I think it was from Tata itself. But yeah, I'm really sorry I can't. I
It's
do
okay, it's
not know
okay.
the specifications of it. Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about like once, okay, you got diagnosed, you were treated, you kind of built your whole coping mechanisms and got your grants and all the process happened. Now, as like once you look back at it, what kind of like what are your takeaways and your reflections? Is there something that you feel you should have done more of or done less of? Maybe it was your diet that you kind of were lenient about, or anything that you think you would have like avoided or done more of, or given more attention to. Just like now, as a 21-year-old, what would you tell a scared little 14-year-old who has just been diagnosed?
Coming to this first question, the one thing that I could have done is maybe rehab more, because it took me a lot of time
Hmm.
for me to recover. I think it was partly because of my negligence, I guess. I didn't feel like doing it because it would hurt as well. But then, you have to just push through it to, sort of recover properly. As for diet, I would say my diet was very good because my
Hmm.
parents were always like overlooking at me. I think if my diet before the disease was diagnosed could have been better, I think maybe you never know, something like this wouldn't have arisen. Considering there's no really set cause for the disease, but I still think I had a pretty unhealthy diet before the disease. But I think after the disease, I think it's been much better. Something more that I could have done, I
Also,
don't
did
really think so.
doctors tell you like why this happened to you? Like, is
Yeah, the
there?
thing is, I had asked them about this, and they said that they don't really know. I think one of the doctors, they said like, I know you feel that whatever is happening to you is like
Hmm.
is just God being unfair to you, and it's very natural to feel like that. But I mean, I guess it is what it is, and
Most cancer usually it's like you can't really predict. Like this is just like one
it's not
pinpoint
something
reason that
like
happened.
yeah, it's not something like you smoke and then you get a
Hmm.
lung cancer or something like that. With blood cancer and other forms of cancer as well, there's no set cause for it, so you don't really know what's happening. And like you see a lot of these kids. I was kind of the grown up in my department, like in my pediatric department. I was like a 14-year-old kid, which was essentially at the borderline pediatric age. And you would see these kids like half my age, quarter my age, having this similar sort of disease, and you feel like, what did they do, like really in terms of, diet or whatever it is. Pretty sure they don't smoke or something like that. It's difficult to really pinpoint on what the root cause of the disease is. So there's nothing that you can do about it before it happens. I guess just follow your healthy diet, keep your lifestyle as good as possible. But if it is diagnosed, I think it is very imperative that you listen to what the doctors and the dietitians at your hospital say. But there was a second question as well. I think I forgot what it was. Yeah.
No, I'll just like want to say that of course you need to follow a good lifestyle, stay away from bad habits, try to be in a clean environment, exercise. All of that definitely is necessary. But even after that, since there is no such pinpoint reason, I think it's a good takeaway to not blame yourself that you did something wrong and the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
reason.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and there's
Ha,
no
ha.
need to feel guilty about it. I know sometimes it
Yes.
could also be like, oh my god, because it's not just me who's suffering. It might also be all the people around me who right now, like, be it to finance, the stress that comes with handling a family member. All of that could have been. There's no reason to blame yourself or to feel guilty. So that's great to not think like that. What would you tell your younger self now that you have recovered and like now as a 21-year-old? What would you probably tell that scared child?
If I had to tell him something, I would say that the next 1 year maybe it's going to be very difficult. If I have to, really sort of put it in a nutshell, is that the light at the end of this dark tunnel of this
Hmm.
1 year treatment, whatever it's going to be, is going to be very bright. right? And what would happen at the end of the treatment in terms of academics, in terms of how you improve, in terms of your recovery. It's going to be amazing. Your life is going to be back on track. It's going to be very different from what you might think would happen. There are going to be episodes, there are going to be instances where you feel like, you're just being a burden to your parents in terms of financially. Maybe the treatment procedure is just like, it's not working towards you. You're not getting better, but you are, and like, it's all going to work out at the very end. Like, it's going to be fine. Like, it's 1 year. You're not even going to lose a year. You're going to be studying at the same class as your friends are. Everyone's going to be around you. They're going to be your friendship with your is going to grow stronger, and yeah, like, a very very good life awaits for you at the end of this treatment. Yeah.
That's
That's what
so
I'm going to.
sweet. Like, yeah, like it feels so good right now as an adult when you think that,
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. There's an immense sense of gratitude that I have at this point of time. It almost feels like a second life that I'm leading right now.
yeah, like that's what we were coming to. Like, how do you feel now? You mentioned that your life has kind of changed, but what are those changes? Like, I mean, physically, mentally, the way you react and interact with people
Yeah,
socially.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think the one key change is that with situations involving stress, some sort of an examination or internal is coming up, and then my friends are like dead scared. Oh, what? I haven't studied anything. I need to pull an all nighter or something like that. I feel like, it's fine. Like, it's not the end of the road. There's this quote from Jurassic Park. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's like there's this one character which says that life finds its way, in reference to how the dinosaurs basically got out of its cages and everything. And yeah, I mean, life finds its way. The thing is, one of the crucial takeaways that I could say from this sort of period was that you can plan for life. It's good to have plans. It's very important to have plans. Okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Later, 5 years down the line, yeah, I'm going to see myself in this position. But it's very probable that that is not going to happen. Something or the other is going to happen, and at the end of the day, it's going to be for the good. Like, I started with ambitions, very different ambitions before my treatment. Post my treatment, I had very different plans. I was just going to be like, I'm going to just complete my studies. I'm going to stay in Siliguri. It's going to be all right. Whatever, I'm going to study, continue with science. 11th and 12th, my plans changed again. It was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should go with science research. And then again, it changed. Now that I'm in economics, it just keeps on changing. You need to adapt to it to the best of ability. Yeah, and like, I think whatever happens, I know it's kind of very cliched saying whatever happens happens for the best. Whatever, I do not agree to it all the time, but yeah, do your best. I think whatever you do, you give your full effort, and I think whatever life has planned out for you, it'll just be great. Just don't give up. Yeah, just don't give up. I think it's very important not to give up. Something or the other will come up very soon, and it'll just change your life for the better. Yeah.
That's just like an amazing note to like wrap all this up. So yeah, before we go out, you said that you had a lot of like gratitude and hope for a lot of people out there, like who are still going through journeys. There are different journeys of battling with cancer. So what kind of like, is there any other message that you'd like to tell them, and any words of gratitude for all the doctors, nurses, and all the health professionals and everyone who pitched in and like, took care of you? What would you like to tell them?
For the patients who are undergoing this treatment, I think I've already mentioned. I mean, there will be times when you will have breakdowns, you will cry, and that's completely all right. That is very normal. That is very natural to happen. Like, I had multiple days where I cried and I felt like, oh, I was going to die. My life was going to end. I'm being a burden to my parents. Like, they're spending so much money on me. It's not worth it and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, that's just overthinking. If I have to put it very in a single word, your life is very important to the people who love you. There are people who love you. There are people who care about you, and I think it's very important to be mentally strong. Everyone has a different way to sort of distract themselves from whatever is happening around you. Find that distraction. It could be social media, it could be Instagram reels, it could be video games, it could be this, it could be that. Whatever is, find that, keep yourself engaged. Important to stay dedicated to the rehabilitation process, any sort of, be it exercise or some other rehab process that's there. And remember that in this sort of phase there will be people who you don't even know who will come forward to help you. So that's where you feel like there's that hope that the world could be like, the world is a like a good place, maybe. That there are the people who feel like who you don't even know, who just come up to you, say a few words. There has been multiple instances in the hospital where I was just like dejected, sad, like in the waiting room, outside the OPD, and then there's like almost like an angel, like some other patient comes up to me, or the guardian of the patient comes up to me and says like, yo, it's all right, it's fine. And some, you during that treatment you would see people who have already been cured, and I think you can talk to them regarding their treatment process, and that will again serve as an inspiration for the people who are going undergoing the treatment process, because they have also undergone this process. And in fact, there was this one doctor who had actually who himself suffered from cancer, and I think he would go on to different patients and talk about his life story, and like his turnaround from him suffering from cancer to now being a doctor and treating other patients suffering from cancer. A pretty big turnaround. As for gratitude, I think I'm definitely very, very grateful, thankful to all of the doctors, the nurses, the lovely aunts at the playroom. I'm forgetting all of the names, the different, I mean, people who helped me, like just like people who I don't remember, just came up to me, just encouraged me, and my parents, obviously. I mean, that's number one, probably. I think relatives, and I think one of the biggest if I had to thank someone, it would be my principal. She has changed schools right now, but I think she was like a god sent to me. Her name is Sister Christine. She's the most amazing like lady, teacher that I think I could uh, you know probably think of at this point of time. The teachers, they were amazing, because once I got back to Siliguri, they were very, very kind enough to commute every day and teach me while I would lay down flat on my bed. I would just listen to them just talking about the chapters, and
That's so sweet.
that was essentially my ICSE preparation. My friends, oh my god, I can't forget about them. And every year I go back, me being a Bengali, I have to go back to my place during Durga Puja, and just we just reminisce about those times, and them helping with everything that they could have done, notes, assignments, projects. In fact, the final project that I had to submit to the ICC council, they did it for me. I had absolutely no role in that, and I still remember the first day I walked back to my school, and like there was this huge line just like waiting for me. It was like the most amazing experience. I just absolutely love my friends. Like I genuinely hope that everyone gets those kind of school friends, and even in college I have a lovely set of friends. They are very caring. Any sort of problem, I could just ring them up. They could be in South Delhi, they would just come like as soon as possible to help me out. Like amazing people. Like I've been very lucky to get these people in my life, and I think everyone should be able to have similar sort of people in their life.
So yeah, that's great. That's very heartwarming to know that people went to such lengths to really show that they care for you, and all the kind of sweet gestures that they could do. And yeah, that kind of brings like little faith that the world is such a nice place. And after all, if you have such kind of support in the world, you can beat cancer and pretty much anything in life. That's really so nice to know. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today, Debuji. It was lovely
Thank you,
having
thank
you
you.
here
Thanks for
today.
having me here. I mean, it's been great to use this platform to sort of try at least my best to sort of inspire, help
Yeah,
people get through this process because I know how hard it can be. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, that's what we are trying, and through such helpful, inspiring stories, we hope to change cancer care coordination for a lot of people in India. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time on another Paxa story. Goodbye.